When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
The Magic Kingdom has a new monarch, so to speak. It's not quite the fairy tale ending Disney had been hoping for the announcement that Bob Iger is handing over as CEO. The stock is down some 3.5%. Now, having said that, has been up quite considerably over the last few months. Bob Iger is widely considered to be one of America's most successful CEOs, and of course, he's stepping down. He helped turn the 100-year-old company into a media powerhouse, overseeing major acquisitions like Pixar and the Star Wars and Marvel franchises. More recently, he helped launch Disney+. He spent a great deal of money, in the billions over here, in the tens of billions over here. He'll be replaced by Bob Chapek as the current head of Disney's theme park businesses. So Frank Pallotta is with me. Frank, this is a fascinating corporate move. We knew he had to go at some point. He'd been wanting to go for some time, but I guess the reason is why now?
I think the reason is right now is what he has said. He wants to focus more on the creative side of the company, which is really interesting because you would think that's a real big step down from Bob Iger, to be the CEO to Disney and then suddenly just be the creative head of Disney. But it's not for Disney, because if you think about the foundation of Disney back in 1923, it was Roy O. Disney and Walt Disney. Roy was the business, and Walt, his brother, was the creative. So I'm not saying that's exactly what we have now, but if you think about Disney's history, it's run pretty well. Two prosperous times, Frank Wells and Mike Eisner in the 1990s, with two people at the top. It could be the same thing this time out for the next 22 months at least.
Right, but who's the boss?
That's a good question.
Does it matter?
See, that's a better question. I don't think it does, because I think Bob Iger has created such a well-oiled machine at Disney that it can almost be a company by committee. You look at Kevin, you have the Kevins. You have Kevin Feige running Marvel Studios, the biggest blockbuster brand in all of Hollywood, if not in all of cinema. Then you have Kevin Mayer, who's running Disney+, which is the future of the company. Then you will have other people running their own little departments, whoever's going to run the parks, which is the most solid part of the business for the company. It can work with Bob Chapek as kind of the business operation day-to-day and Iger as the big picture guy.
But you always end up with these situations, companies like Disney, the vision thing.
Yes.
The leader, the
yes.
boss. Now, traditionally, after a very big famous name,
yep.
the next person tends not to do terribly well because they tend to be more of a technocrat and a bureaucrat.
That's true, but then you look at Apple. Tim Cook had to follow.
How long did it take him, though, after?
That's fair.
How long did it take?
That's really fair. But what I'm trying to say is that it can be done. Yes, after Walt Disney died in 1966, Disney went through pretty much 2 decades of dark times when they were almost bought in a corporate raid. And it wasn't until Michael Eisner and Frank Wells came out that they had a renaissance. Then Iger basically did everything on his own, and that's where we are now. I think that Iger has created such a company of strength that it can survive really whoever the next person is. And let's be quite honest, Chapek is a good CEO. He's not just like somebody they found on Buena Vista Boulevard. He ran the Disney Parks unit, which has been one of the most solid units for the company.
Is he what I suppose one would call in governmental terms a technocrat? He will a chief operating officer type of mentality. I mean, he makes the trains run on time.
He does make the trains run on time. He's a really good manager, really good operator. But look at it this way. In the next 22 months, he can learn alongside Bob Iger. And he can become more and more like Bob Iger in the same way that Iger learned alongside Michael Eisner.
We need to look at the markets.